the Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And then we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person.
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly just teamed up for what might be the most unexpected takedown in daytime TV history. And their target, none other than Ellen DeGeneres, the woman who built a multi-million-dollar empire on dancing, grinning, and being kind, is now facing a full-force reality check from two of the most outspoken voices in media. What's behind that megawatt smile?
It's like a beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough.
Ellen is like an old...
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
You know that moment when someone seems so wholesome, so squeaky clean, that it almost feels too perfect? Like their niceness is so over the top, you start to wonder, what's the real story here? Enter Ellen DeGeneres, America's daytime darling, the smiling, dancing, be-kind queen of daytime talk. She built her empire on good vibes, inspirational monologues, and the illusion that kindness is her religion. But behind that glossy exterior, something was brewing, and it wasn't just soy lattes. Suddenly, two media juggernauts from opposite ends of the spectrum decided to peel back the curtain. Not one, but two. The unfiltered juggernaut of podcasting and the sharp-tongued veteran of primetime journalism, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly.
When you see, like, a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they
Dogs
have like
around them.
Yeah, you heard that right. Joe Rogan, the king of no-holds-barred podcasting, and Megyn Kelly, the journalist who slices through public personas like it's her day job, both took aim at Ellen DeGeneres and her carefully packaged Queen of Nice brand. And let's just say, they did not hold back. Rogan, known for digging into everything from UFOs to political chaos, zeroed in on the weird disconnect between Ellen's sunshine and smiles public image and the horror stories leaking out of her studio like smoke from a fire no one wants to admit is burning. And Kelly, she rolled up her sleeves and went straight for the heart of the Ellen machine, the corporate brand built on kindness, while the staff behind the scenes reportedly dodged eye contact and morale hits like they were landmines. Together, they poked the soft underbelly of one of the most polished celebrity brands on TV. And what came out? Messy, cringe, and let's be honest, absolutely hilarious.
On this, this is perfect for you, because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And
let's start with Joe Rogan. His show's a cultural radar and nothing slips by. Not even Ellen's polished persona. He looked at the stories and said, hold up, that bubbly nice girl act, something feels off? He's got a nose for when public image and real behavior just don't add up.
all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim.
Joe's angle wasn't just cheap celebrity drama. This was deeper. It was cultural excavation. He dug up what people in Hollywood had been whispering for years. Ellen's workplace wasn't the cheerful, love-filled haven we all saw on screen. Behind the glitter and giveaways, it was tense, robotic, and built on fear. The kind of place where staff smiled on cue because their paycheck depended on it. He painted a sharp contrast between the cheerful public image and the cold, reportedly hostile environment behind the curtain. It felt like watching a feel-good movie suddenly cut into a psychological thriller with no pause button in sight. But Joe wasn't just targeting Ellen, he was calling out a wider issue. The way some celebs turn kindness into a brand they can sell, wrapping it up in catchphrases and merch, and expecting everyone to just buy in blindly. And when kindness becomes a marketing tool, it's no surprise some people get burned in the process.
Have they made progress with the strike?
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer strike, that's some dirty shit. They cross the picket line.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like,
press.
I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Being behind the scenes.
Now you might think that was already enough to raise eyebrows, but that was just the beginning. Enter Megyn Kelly, who came at the Ellen story from another angle, but just as fiercely. While Rogan was breaking down the myth, Kelly put on her journalist gloves and went for the core of Ellen's empire. She wasn't looking at just the persona, she was digging into the engine behind it, the lawsuits, complaints, and toxic workplace allegations that rarely made it past fluffy media interviews. She didn't sugarcoat anything. Instead, she connected the dots between Ellen's public be kind image and what insiders described as a pressure-filled, punishing environment behind the scenes. And the part that really stuck? The claims that staff concerns were brushed aside, ignored, or dismissed like background noise. Whatever that was, it wasn't exactly kindness on full display.
This is for me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with
she
with $100 million in her pocket.
$450 million according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows.
Kelly's critique also took aim at the media itself, how reporters often danced around Ellen's controversies, choosing to protect her image instead of asking hard questions. But Kelly wasn't having any of that. She dragged those contradictions out into the open, forcing people to look past the polished interviews and see the real machine underneath. It wasn't just about scandal, it was about peeling back the layers of celebrity branding and exposing what really goes on when the cameras stop rolling. Ellen wasn't just a talk show host, she was running a high-pressure empire. And once Kelly connected the dots between that cheerful public persona and the serious claims from staff, the gap was impossible to ignore. It reminded everyone that behind every cute catchphrase or shiny PR slogan, there could be a different story entirely.
Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
And let's be clear, this wasn't some bitter hit job or mean-spirited attack. It was more like pulling back the velvet curtain on a carefully staged illusion. Sure, the sparkle might have been real, but so were the smoke and mirrors. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly didn't come swinging for drama. They brought what most media outlets won't: blunt honesty and sharp analysis. They were like the friends who call you out right before you make a bad decision, not to shame you, but to keep it real. It's the kind of truth that stings a little, surprises you a lot, and yeah, maybe makes you laugh too. That's what happens when you mix Rogan's raw perspective with Kelly's relentless digging. No shouting matches, no cheap shots, just smart questions, sharp facts, and fearless commentary.
She's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I mean, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to know, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen, to get over it.
So here's the real kicker in this whole Rogan and Kelly tag team takedown. It's not just about Ellen. This is bigger. When two media giants from opposite worlds join forces, even unintentionally, they tear open the echo chamber where celebrity narratives usually get protected or ignored. Think about it. Joe Rogan, the anti-establishment voice who built a podcast empire by letting people say the unsayable. Then there's Megyn Kelly, the polished news veteran who knows exactly how to dissect spin. Put them together, and it's not just a ripple, it's a media earthquake. Rogan brought the attitude that says, don't believe the hype, cutting through the performance with cultural commentary. Kelly brought receipts, tracing lawsuits, complaints, and insider claims to draw a very different picture of what was really happening. Together, they stripped away the gloss and got people to finally look at what might be lurking behind Ellen's trademark grin.
Her and Bush are jumping around. I mean,
That's right. She was buddies with Bush. That
yeah,
was like
she's
one of the
a
first.
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources. But Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning?
Ellen. Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird, like, diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's, like, showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling, how are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of, like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to, look, what the hell's going on? This is a daytime
Together, their voices created a shockwave that cracked the polished surface of celebrity worship. It wasn't just about Ellen, it was about challenging the system that props up flawless public images while hiding messy realities. Why does that matter? Because audiences aren't passive anymore. Thanks to Rogan and Kelly, people are asking tougher questions, peeling back layers, and realizing how much of what we see is just PR and smoke. And what's refreshing, this wasn't some messy meltdown or clickbait drama. There were no viral blowups or angry rants on Twitter, just calm, cutting analysis that actually made people think. It was a smart, grown-up takedown, and a much-needed break from the same tired celebrity feuds recycled endlessly.
It should tell you
uniform.
something.
Yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking to clothesline somebody.
Yeah,
You
look at
mark
her. Look at
them
her.
in
Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
there. She does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch,
She
too.
dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Yeah.
Instead, Rogan and Kelly proved you can shine a spotlight on hypocrisy without messy theatrics. No shouting matches, no tabloid-level tantrums, just bold, clear commentary that actually hit deeper. They exposed contradictions and challenged public narratives with substance, not spectacle. And that's what made it land harder. It wasn't just noise, it was pointed, deliberate truth-telling. By ditching the usual celebrity drama formula, they made the conversation feel more serious, even while keeping it sharp and entertaining. It was commentary with weight, not fluff. And honestly, that kind of breakdown is way more satisfying than any overproduced reality TV drama.
I'm
To
just
admit
like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she's fine.
At the end of the day, this whole saga is a reminder that no matter how polished a celebrity image may be, be, the truth eventually finds its way to the surface. Sometimes it needs a little push, and that's exactly what Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly delivered. No theatrics, no screaming matches, just a brutal dose of reality for a brand that had gone unchecked for way too long. If Ellen's legacy takes a hit from all this, maybe it should, because the cost of progress often means breaking apart those picture-perfect narratives we've blindly accepted. If that means peeling back the smiley exterior of a media darling to reveal something a little uglier underneath, so be it. Next time you see someone on stage preaching kindness, dancing for the crowd, or delivering feel-good monologues, ask yourself, is it authentic or just another well-packaged product? Because behind every be kind mantra might be a PR strategy, not a personal code. And sometimes it takes voices like Rogan and Kelly, completely different, brutally honest, and totally unfiltered, to rip off the mask and show us what's really going on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.